Hey everyone, welcome back to Switchtop. 2026 is shaping up to be an absolutely incredible year for gaming. We've got a lineup of games that are going to push this new hardware to its limits and show us what next-gen Nintendo gaming really looks like. So let's count down the top 20 Switch 2 games that are going to define 2026. Pragmata is blending atmospheric sci-fi storytelling with a distinctive gameplay structure built around dual character synergy. Set in a near-future world, on an abandoned lunar research facility, the story follows astronaut Hugh Williams after a mysterious disaster leaves the base hostile and isolated. His survival hinges on Diana, a childlike android whose role goes far beyond narrative support. Gameplay mixes third-person action with tactical decision-making as Hugh handles movement, shooting, and exploration, while Diana actively hacks enemies and environmental systems in real time. Combat isn't about raw firepower alone. Hacking can disable defenses, expose weak points, or reshape encounters, pushing players to think strategically rather than rush forward. Outside of combat, the same systems are used to solve environmental puzzles, unlock routes, and manipulate the station's technology, creating a strong link between action and exploration. The moon setting leans heavily into mood, with stark sci-fi architecture, eerie silence, and sudden mechanical threats, reinforcing a constant sense of vulnerability. With its focus on tactical pacing, atmosphere, and character-driven design, Pragmata stands out as a more thoughtful take on sci-fi action, and it is officially scheduled to release on April 24th, 2026. Reanimal is delivering a tense survival horror experience rooted in atmosphere, movement, and quiet storytelling rather than direct combat. Developed by Tarnished Studios, the creators of Little Nightmares, the game follows a brother and sister trapped on a distorted, nightmarish version of their home island, where their main goal is to find 3 missing friends and escape a world that feels increasingly hostile and wrong. Gameplay focuses on cinematic platforming, stealth, and environmental puzzle solving, asking players to carefully observe their surroundings, time their movements, and use the environment to avoid grotesque creatures instead of confronting them head-on. Exploration plays a key role, with later progression unlocking a boat that allows access to new islands and areas, adding a light, non-linear structure and reinforcing the sense of being lost in a broken place. The dual protagonist design is tightly integrated, supporting solo play with AI assistance or full local and online co-op, where coordination becomes essential for survival. This blend of emotional tension, cooperative mechanics, and haunting world design positions Reanimal as a standout horror title on the platform, with its release officially set for February 13th, 2026 on Nintendo Switch 2. Dispatch is shifting the superhero fantasy away from fists and explosions toward decision-making, character management, and sharp writing. Set in a contemporary version of Los Angeles, the story follows Robert Robertson III, once known as Mecha Man, whose combat career is put on hold after his powerful mech suit is destroyed. Forced into a desk job at the Superhero Dispatch Network, he becomes responsible for coordinating emergency responses across the city using a tactical map, assigning a team of reformed ex-supervillains, now probationary heroes, to handle crises. Gameplay revolves around choosing the right heroes for each situation, managing their abilities, limitations, and personal issues, and dealing with the consequences when plans don't go as expected. Dialogue choices and branching narrative paths play a major role, shaping relationships, office politics, and the emotional arcs of the characters, with a tone that balances humor, drama, and self-reflection. With its focus on storytelling, choice-driven gameplay, and a fresh take on the superhero genre, Dispatch offers something genuinely different for the platform and is officially scheduled to release on January 29th, 2026 on Nintendo Switch 2.
Is that your car?
I don't have a car.
That's gonna be a weird insurance claim.
The way things are going, I'd cut the whole damn team.
All of you in this room have set this
Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave is positioned as one of the Nintendo Switch 2 titles that could define 2026, building on the series' tactical foundations while introducing a new setting and thematic focus. The game returns to classic turn-based, grid-based combat, emphasizing careful unit positioning, terrain advantages, class interactions, and the familiar weapon triangle, while expanding tactical options through new classes and refined systems. The story takes place in an original fantasy world shaped by political tension and personal ambition, centered around the so-called Heroic Games, a high-stakes tournament organized by a mysterious divine sovereign that draws warriors from across the land, each carrying their own motivations and secrets. As battles unfold, character relationships, rivalries, and alliances play a crucial role, reinforcing Fire Emblem's long-standing focus on emotional investment and narrative consequence alongside strategic depth. Early reveals suggest thematic connections to the wider Fire Emblem universe, with subtle nods that longtime fans will recognize, while still remaining approachable for newcomers. And it is officially scheduled to release on Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026, with the exact launch date yet to be announced.
It is imperative that I face it again. I must cull it with this blade.
My full strength.
There's a man
Orbitals is built entirely around cooperation, communication, and shared problem-solving, rather than solo action. Set in a colorful sci-fi universe inspired by classic anime, the story follows two space explorers, Maki and Omura, as they struggle to save their deteriorating orbital space station from a mysterious cosmic storm that threatens to tear it apart. Gameplay is centered on asymmetrical co-op, with each player taking on a different role equipped with unique tools and abilities, meaning success depends on coordination, timing, and constant interaction rather than mechanical skill alone. Players navigate hazardous zero-gravity environments, solve interconnected puzzles, and manage spatial challenges that require both characters to work in tandem, reinforcing the game's emphasis on teamwork. The experience supports multiple ways to play together, including local split screen, local multiplayer via system sharing, and online co-op with integrated voice communication, all designed to keep players connected and engaged. Built using Unreal Engine 5, Orbitals pairs smooth performance with expressive animation and stylized visuals that give its universe a lively, handcrafted feel. And it is officially scheduled to release exclusively on Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026, with a precise launch date yet to be announced.
Orbitals 2人協力プレイのスペースアドベンチャー。
イエイ。
Nintendo Switch 2から出るよ。
Splatoon Raiders is designed as the first true spin-off. The game shifts focus toward a single-player, exploration-driven adventure set on the mysterious Spiralite Islands. Players step into the role of a mechanic who partners with the deep-cut trio from Splatoon 3, investigating strange phenomena spreading across the islands. Gameplay appears to blend familiar ink-based mechanics with traversal, environmental interaction, and gear-focused problem-solving, emphasizing exploration and experimentation rather than turf wars and ranked matches. Early footage suggests the use of machines, tools, and ink-powered devices to navigate terrain, unlock paths, and overcome challenges, pointing toward a more deliberate, adventure-oriented pacing. Story elements play a larger role than in mainline entries, with a clearer narrative structure built around uncovering the secrets of the islands and understanding the forces behind their instability. While many specific systems are still under wraps, Nintendo has positioned the game as more narrative-focused and exploratory, offering a fresh way to experience the Splatoon universe while keeping its signature style and tone intact. Splatoon Raiders is confirmed as a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive and is officially scheduled to release in 2026. South of Midnight is offering a very different kind of action-adventure, rooted in mood, mythology, and character-driven storytelling. Developed by Compulsion Games, the experience places players in a southern Gothic world inspired by American folklore, where reality and myth blur together after a devastating hurricane reshapes the landscape. You play as Hazel Flood, a young woman drawn into a supernatural journey as she explores haunting swamps, decaying towns, and dreamlike environments shaped by memory and trauma. Gameplay is built around third-person exploration and combat, with Hazel wielding mystical weaving powers that let her manipulate magical strands, restore broken connections in the world, and confront eerie creatures born from pain and loss. Combat emphasizes fluid movement, dodging, and timing, combining close-range attacks with supernatural abilities that reward precision rather than brute force. Outside of fights, weaving is also used for traversal and puzzle solving, tying mechanics directly into the narrative themes of repair and healing. With its distinctive art direction, myth-heavy setting, and focus on narrative cohesion between gameplay and story, South of Midnight offers something tonally unique within the Switch 2 lineup, and is officially scheduled to release on the platform in spring 2026. Pokémon Pokopia is reimagining the Pokémon formula through a relaxed, creation-focused experience rather than traditional battles. Set on an undeveloped stretch of land, the game places players in the role of a Ditto living in human form, tasked with transforming an empty area into a lively habitat where Pokémon can live, work, and interact. Gameplay centers on life simulation mechanics such as gathering resources, crafting furniture, constructing buildings, and shaping the environment, with Pokémon abilities integrated directly into everyday tasks. Different Pokémon contribute in practical ways, using their moves to help plant crops, water fields, clear obstacles, or speed up construction, encouraging experimentation and creative planning. Progression is driven by expanding the settlement, attracting new Pokémon residents, and learning new skills that open up additional customization and building options. A real-time day and night cycle, along with changing weather, influences Pokémon behavior and daily routines, adding a gentle rhythm to the experience. By focusing on interaction, growth, and expression instead of combat, Pokémon Pokopia offers a fresh take on the franchise and is officially scheduled to release exclusively on Nintendo Switch 2 on March 5th, 2026.
Pokemon friends will help you rebuild your world. They can light campfires, water plants, help crops grow, get light shining, and so much more. If you work together with several Pokémon,
Witchbrook. Developed by Chucklefish, the game is set in the charming seaside city of Mossport, where players arrive as a young witch enrolling at Witchbrook College to study magic while building a new life. Gameplay revolves around a relaxed but layered daily routine that includes attending classes to learn spells such as potion brewing, broom flight, and divination, exploring forests and coastlines, tending gardens, crafting items, and customizing a personal cottage. Social interaction plays a major role, with a large cast of townsfolk to befriend, form rivalries with, or romance, all supported by seasonal events and evolving character schedules that make the town feel alive. Progression isn't just about magical skill, but also about carving out a place in the community and shaping your identity within it. The experience can be played solo or shared through up to 4-player co-op, allowing friends to explore, study, and cause magical mischief together. With its handcrafted pixel art, cozy atmosphere, and focus on personal growth rather than pressure or combat, Witchbrook aims to capture the long-term appeal of living in its world, and it is officially scheduled to release on Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026, with a more precise launch date yet to be announced. Resident Evil Requiem. Built on Capcom's RE engine, the game returns the series to a slower, more deliberate pace, focused on atmosphere, exploration, and resource management rather than constant action. The story centers on Grace Ashcroft, an FBI technical analyst drawn into a disturbing investigation connected to her mother's death and the lingering biohazard legacy surrounding the ruins of Raccoon City, while Leon S. Kennedy also returns as a playable character, offering a contrasting perspective and deepening the narrative. Gameplay emphasizes careful movement through claustrophobic environments, puzzle solving, and strategic combat where ammunition and healing items are limited, forcing players to weigh every encounter. A notable feature is the ability to shift between first-person and third-person viewpoints, allowing different approaches to tension, spatial awareness, and combat encounters. By balancing legacy elements with refined mechanics and a darker, more introspective tone, Resident Evil Requiem aims to deliver a focused horror experience on the platform and is officially scheduled to release on February 27, 2026 on Nintendo Switch 2.
Think I want a second opinion.
Elden Ring Tarnished Edition is by bringing From Software's landmark open-world RPG to the platform in its most complete form. This edition bundles the full Elden Ring experience with the expansive Shadow of the Erdtree expansion, along with additional weapons, armor, and customization options for Torrent, delivering a massive adventure in a single package. Set in the hauntingly beautiful Lands Between, the story follows the Tarnished on a perilous quest to restore the shattered Elden Ring and claim the mantle of Elden Lord, with narrative depth conveyed through environmental storytelling, cryptic dialogue, and rich lore rather than direct exposition. Gameplay centers on deliberate, skill-based combat, deep character building, and unrestricted exploration across vast regions filled with hidden dungeons, brutal bosses, and meaningful side paths that reward curiosity. Players are free to approach challenges in multiple ways, mixing melee combat, magic, stealth, and mounted traversal to craft their own playstyle. Originally planned for an earlier release, the Switch 2 version has been delayed to ensure performance and stability on the new hardware. Elden Ring Tarnished Edition is officially scheduled to launch on Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026, with a specific release date yet to be announced.
They will fight, and they will die in an unending curse.
Dynasty Warriors Origins is reworking the classic Musou formula with stronger narrative focus and more strategic depth. Set during the turbulent Three Kingdoms era of ancient China, the story follows a nameless warrior caught in the middle of legendary conflicts, from the Yellow Turban Rebellion to the Battle of Chibi, with player choices influencing alliances and how key events unfold. Rather than simply retelling history, the game emphasizes perspective and consequence, allowing players to side with different factions and experience the war from multiple angles. Gameplay retains the series' trademark large-scale hack-and-slash combat, pitting the player against hundreds of enemies at once, but adds layers of tactical decision-making through battlefield commands, allied unit management, and character loadout customization. Each officer features distinct weapons and combo styles, rewarding positioning, timing, and situational awareness rather than pure button mashing. Progression encourages experimentation with different playstyles while maintaining the overwhelming spectacle the franchise is known for. And it is officially scheduled to release on January 22, 2026 for Nintendo Switch 2.
In time, they are certain to clash with one another. When that happens, with whom will you?
Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is delivering a story-driven, globe-trotting adventure that captures the spirit of classic Indiana Jones films while modernizing its gameplay. Set in 1937, between Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade, the story follows Indiana Jones as he investigates the mystery of the Great Circle, a chain of ancient sites scattered across the world that may conceal a forgotten power. Gameplay blends first-person exploration with environmental puzzle solving, stealth, and situational combat, encouraging players to think like an archaeologist rather than a pure action hero. Large, semi-open locations such as ancient ruins, cities, and remote landscapes reward careful observation, alternative paths, and optional discoveries that deepen the narrative. Puzzles are tightly integrated into traversal and storytelling, often requiring logical reasoning, use of tools, and environmental interaction, while combat emphasizes improvisation and tension over constant firefights. By focusing on atmosphere, exploration, and classic adventure pacing instead of relentless action, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is officially confirmed for Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026, with a more precise release date yet to be announced.
You're good at this, Mr. Jones.
I know enough to get me into trouble.
007 First Light is delivering a modern, story-driven take on James Bond that balances stealth, espionage, and cinematic action. Developed by IO Interactive, the game serves as an original origin story following a younger James Bond at the beginning of his MI6 career as he earns his license to kill and forges his identity as a field agent. Gameplay emphasizes player choice and adaptability, allowing missions to be approached through stealth, social manipulation, gadget use, or controlled gunplay, rather than forcing a single playstyle. Drawing on IO Interactive's experience with systemic design, levels are built to support multiple solutions, encouraging careful observation, timing, and creative problem-solving. Gadgets play a central role, with tools provided by Q enabling infiltration, distractions, information gathering, and stylish escapes, while vehicles and set-piece moments reinforce the classic Bond fantasy. By combining stealth-focused gameplay, cinematic presentation, and a fresh narrative starting point for the character, 007 First Light positions itself as a standout experience on the platform and is officially scheduled to release on March 27, 2026 on Nintendo Switch 2. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is bringing a fully modernized take on a legendary JRPG to the platform, with all of its enhancements intact. This version retells the opening chapter of the original Final Fantasy VII, focusing on the city of Midgar and expanding its story through cinematic storytelling, deeper character development, and richly detailed environments that give new weight to familiar events. Gameplay blends real-time action with strategic decision-making through the ATB system, allowing players to freely attack and move while pausing to issue powerful commands such as abilities, spells, and limit breaks once gauges are filled. Party management plays a central role, encouraging frequent character switching between Cloud, Tifa, Barret, and Aerith to exploit enemy weaknesses and maintain tactical flow. Intergrade also includes the episode Intermission expansion, introducing Yuffie Kisaragi in a parallel storyline with unique mechanics and a faster, more agile combat style that complements the main campaign. By combining cinematic presentation, hybrid combat, and character-driven storytelling, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade stands as a major addition to the platform and is officially scheduled to release on January 22, 2026 for Nintendo Switch 2.
The world won't end today, but you will.
My name is Yuffie, Materia Hunter and Elite.
The Duskbloods is marking a bold new direction for From Software, with a strong focus on multiplayer-driven design. Set in a dark, gothic world inspired by Victorian and early modern aesthetics, the game centers on the Bloodsworn, warriors who have surpassed human limits through a mysterious power known as First Blood. Unlike the studio's traditionally solo-focused experiences, the Duskbloods is built around intense PvPvE gameplay, supporting up to 8 players who must navigate large arenas filled with hostile enemies, rival players, and shifting objectives. Matches are structured around moments of uneasy cooperation and sudden betrayal, where players may work together to overcome environmental threats before turning on each other to secure victory. Each Bloodsworn features distinct abilities and roles, encouraging varied playstyles and tactical coordination while maintaining the deliberate, high-stakes combat From Software is known for. As a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive directed by Hidetaka Miyazaki, it is officially scheduled to release on Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026, with an exact launch date yet to be announced. The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales, is combining classic adventure sensibilities with modern action RPG design and striking HD 2D visuals. Developed by Square Enix's Team Asano, the game is set in the wild continent of Philibieldia, a land dominated by hostile beast tribes beyond the safety of the Kingdom of Huther, humanity's last stronghold. Players follow Elliot, a young adventurer who ventures outside the kingdom's walls after the discovery of ancient ruins, accompanied by Faye, a fairy companion who actively supports both combat and exploration. Gameplay is built around real-time action, allowing fluid movement and fast-paced encounters using 7 distinct weapon types, including swords, bows, chains, and sickles, each offering different combat rhythms and tactical options. Progression is driven by exploration, with magicite fragments found in ruins and shrines used to customize and enhance weapons, encouraging experimentation and build variety. Faye plays a key mechanical role as well, assisting with attacks, retrieving distant items, and helping solve environmental puzzles, creating a strong gameplay bond between the two characters. And it is officially scheduled to release on Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026, with a specific launch date yet to be announced.
All sorts of variations to find the playstyle that works for you. Your fairy companion, Faye, can also attack and pick up items. you can control both Elliot and Faye separately, or two players.
Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition is delivering a complete version of Bethesda's expansive post-nuclear RPG on Nintendo hardware for the first time. Set in the ruins of the Commonwealth, the story follows the sole survivor, emerging from Vault 111 in search of their missing son, with player choices shaping alliances, outcomes, and the moral direction of the journey across a fractured wasteland. Gameplay blends first- or third-person combat with deep RPG progression, open-world exploration, and systemic freedom, allowing players to approach situations through combat, stealth, dialogue, or creative problem-solving. Character development is driven by the special system and perks, encouraging highly personalized builds that support everything from sharpshooters and power-armored brawlers to charismatic negotiators. The Anniversary Edition includes the full base game, along with all major expansions, such as Far Harbor and Nuka World, and a large collection of Creation Club content that adds new quests, weapons, gear, and quality-of-life improvements. With its massive scope, player agency, and sandbox design, Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition offers a landmark RPG experience on the platform and is officially scheduled to release on Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026, with a more specific launch date yet to be announced. Monster Hunter Stories 3: Twisted Reflection is expanding the Monster Hunter universe through a more narrative-driven, turn-based RPG experience. Set in a world threatened by a mysterious phenomenon known as the Crystal Encroachment, the story follows the heir to the Kingdom of Azuria, the last Rathalos rider of their land, as rising tensions with the neighboring kingdom of Remake push the region toward conflict. Central to the narrative is the birth of twin Rathalos from a single egg, an unprecedented event that fuels political unrest and hints at a deeper imbalance shaping the fate of both kingdoms. Gameplay focuses on building strong bonds with monsties, monsters that players hatch, raise, and fight alongside, using a refined rock-paper-scissors combat system based on power, speed, and technical attacks that rewards prediction and strategic planning. Outside of battle, monsties play an active role in exploration, allowing players to traverse environments, uncover secrets, and interact with the world in meaningful ways. By combining strategic combat, creature companionship, and a darker, more politically charged narrative, Monster Hunter Stories 3: Twisted Reflection positions itself as a major RPG highlight and is officially scheduled to release on March 13, 2026 for Nintendo Switch 2.
Watch out!
Dragon Quest VII Reimagined is fully rebuilding one of the series' most ambitious entries, with modern presentation and refined systems. The story follows a young hero from the quiet island of Estard, who, alongside close companions, uncovers the mysterious Shrine of Mysteries and is drawn into a journey across lost lands and different eras of time. As sealed regions of the world are gradually restored, the narrative unfolds as a slow-burning adventure about curiosity, responsibility, and the long-term consequences of small actions, staying true to the emotional structure that made the original memorable. Gameplay remains classic turn-based Dragon Quest at its core, but is enhanced with quality-of-life improvements such as faster battle flow, optional automation, and streamlined progression. Visually, the game adopts a refined 3D diorama-style look that brings Akira Toriyama's character designs and the world's shifting timelines to life while preserving the series' charm. By blending a massive, time-spanning narrative with thoughtful mechanical updates and a faithful tone, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined stands as a significant RPG release and is officially scheduled to launch on February 5, 2026 for Nintendo Switch 2.
Haha, this is the stuff! You and me battling side by side again. Flame Splitter! There's no time to waste. Here's to—
And there you have it, the top 20 Nintendo Switch 2 games that are going to define 2026. From innovative new IPs to beloved franchises taking bold new directions, this year is shaping up to be legendary for the Switch 2. Which of these games are you most excited for? Let me know in the comments. And if there's a game you think should have made this list, I want to hear about it. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and subscribe to Switch Top for more Nintendo content. Until next time,